This NHL season has seen numerous players break out, guys like Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou in St. Louis. Obviously Troy Terry in Anaheim is probably the biggest one, but those are all guys that I feel like a lot of people expected to take another leap this season. Troy Terry, maybe not to the extent that he's doing it, but that's still a player who a lot of people viewed to have a good amount of potential. But in this video, I want to talk about a couple of players who are having breakout seasons that have really came out of nowhere, guys that no one really expected to take a big leap, players that at this point in their careers everyone kind of figured they just were what they were at this point, and before this season in both of these players' cases that was just being a bottom six forward. I'm sure you can tell who the two players we're going to be talking about are just based off of the thumbnail, but if there's any other players that you can think of that are breaking out this season kind of out of nowhere, be sure to let me know down below in the comment section. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started, and we'll start off with talking about Ryan Hartman of the Minnesota Wild, because this is a player that I feel like I've talked about a good bit so far this season, whereas the other player we're going to talk about in this video, I don't think I've even mentioned his name so far. So as of today, December 16th, 2021, Ryan Hartman is actually second on the Minnesota Wild in scoring with 23 points in 28 games, only behind Kirill Kaprizov, who has a pretty good lead as he has 32 points, and Ryan Hartman is actually tied with Marcus Foligno for the team leading goals with 13. Ryan Hartman also has a team high plus 20 at this point in the season, and he's actually the first line center for the Minnesota Wild right now, centering Matt Zuccarello and Kirill Kaprizov, and it's been that way for the majority of the season. And funny thing is, Ryan Hartman is a player who throughout his career has primarily been a winger. He's never really played the center position all that much. What Ryan Hartman is doing is incredibly impressive and extremely surprising. This is a player who had a 19-goal season with the Blackhawks back in 2016-17, but based off of the 4 seasons in between that 19-goal season and this season that we're currently in, it seemed like that season in which he scored 19 goals was kind of an outlier in his career, and that he would probably never get back to that level, at least goal scoring wise. Let's take a look at Ryan Hartman's numbers over the past 4 seasons, obviously not including this one, and looking at those totals, they're solid numbers for a bottom 6 forward, which again is basically what Ryan Hartman has been, with the exception of this season, for pretty much his entire career. He's basically just been a guy that can give you decent defensive results, kill penalties here and there, and hopefully chip in close or a little bit above double digits in goals. Now let's take a look at Ryan Hartman's totals this season in comparison to last year. It's pretty insane. Obviously he already has more points and goals this season than he had all of last season in 51 games. Now a big factor here is definitely opportunity. You can see the ice time went from around 15 minutes up to 17.5 minutes, and like I mentioned, he's been centering Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Zuccarello for pretty much the entire season, and obviously that's going to lead to a bit of a bump in his production. But it's not like Ryan Hartman was just put in this role by the Minnesota Wild for no reason. He earned the opportunity to be put in this position, and he has taken this opportunity and ran with it, and has probably exceeded, I'm sure, everybody's expectations that they had for him heading into the season. And I'll finish off this bit on Ryan Hartman by saying it's not like he's putting up these numbers in Arizona or in Buffalo on a team that has no expectations and on a team that's tanking. He's putting up numbers on one of the better teams in the National Hockey League, and I feel like that makes what he's doing that much more impressive. So shout out to Ryan Hartman. He is having just an incredible season, and it's really kind of came out of nowhere. Now let's move on to the other player I wanted to talk about in today's video, and like I said at the start of the video, I feel like this is a player that I haven't even mentioned his name in any video at all so far this season, and that player is Evan Rodrigues of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now I feel like what Rodrigues is doing is more out of nowhere than what Ryan Hartman is doing, because like we mentioned, Ryan Hartman has had a 19-goal season before. He was actually traded for a first-round pick at one point in his career, I believe. But when it comes to Evan Rodrigues, there was really none of that. He's an undrafted player. His career high in goals before the season was 9, and his career high in points was 29, and he did both of those in 2018-19 with a terrible Buffalo Sabres team. And you take a look at what Evan Rodrigues is doing this season with a Pittsburgh Penguins team that is doing pretty well, all things considered. When you think about all the injuries that they've dealt with, Rodrigues has actually been a pretty big reason why they've been able to stay afloat. In 28 games, he's got 9 goals, which is tied for his career high. He's going to break his career high any game now, and he has 13 assists for 22 total points. And all of those points, with the exception of 3, have came at even strength. He's given the Pittsburgh Penguins great offensive production, especially when you consider what Evan Rodrigues has been for the majority of his NHL career. You know, at times this is a player who wasn't even an everyday player depending on his situation. What Rodrigues is doing this season is pretty pretty remarkable, and I want to give some more context to just how good he has been by taking a look at some of his advanced analytics. These come from naturalstattrick.com. He has a Corsi for percentage of 61.81, which is insane, and he has an expected goals for percentage of 64.04. Pittsburgh is dominating the play when Rodriguez is on the ice, and it's not only his offensive game that has been very good so far this season either. He's been fantastic defensively. I'm sure you've all heard of Jay Fresh Hockey, who puts out the player cards. He's pretty prominent on Twitter, has a great Patreon. I recommend you subscribe if you're not already. Looking at Evan Rodriguez's player card right now, his even strength defense is in the 80th percentile. I'll say it again, what Rodriguez is doing this season is nothing short of remarkable, especially when you consider his career path up until this point. And similar to what I said about Ryan Hartman, obviously opportunity is playing a big factor here. Rodriguez's ice time is way up from his career average, and a lot of that has to do with all the injuries Pittsburgh had coming into the season with guys like Crosby, Malkin, Jeff Carter missed some time as well. So there have been periods of this season where Rodriguez has been forced to play first line center minutes, first line center role, and similar to what I said about Ryan Hartman again, he has taken this opportunity and ran with it. So shout out to Evan Rodriguez on the incredible season he's having. I would definitely say him and Ryan Hartman to me have been two of the more surprising players in the entire league. That is pretty much going to wrap up today's video, though. I really hope you guys did enjoy, and like I said at the start, if there are any other players that I did not cover in this video that you think have really came out of nowhere and are having a big breakthrough season, then be sure to let me know down below in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please be sure to leave it a like. That is the best way to show your support. I'd really appreciate it. And if this is your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you all soon.